Everyone knows how great Spider-Man 2 was on PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube. It blew the doors open for Spidey games to come with its open-world Manhattan map, randomly generated crimes, and most of all, its physics-based web-swinging system. I don't need to sing its praises. But there's a port of Spider-Man 2 that not many people talk about, one that is not so highly regarded. I'm talking about Spider-Man 2 on PC. It's a totally different game from the one most people are familiar with, and one that's been heavily criticized for not living up to the expectations set by the home console port. But today, I'm here to give it a fair shake, to go in with an open mind and without any preconceived notions to find out, is Spider-Man 2 on PC really that bad? The studio behind this port is known as Fizz Factor. If the name doesn't ring a bell, I don't blame you. They don't exactly have the most noteworthy titles under their belt. Some of their works include The Hobbit, Charm Girls Club, and a Spyro game. But it's one of the ugly-ass rebooted Spyro games, but hey, I said I'm not gonna allow any outside influences affect my time with Spider-Man 2 on PC, so let's swing in. Whoa, this game does not waste any time. We're already starting in the middle of Otto's science presentation. See, normally I expect to start a Spider-Man game with a regular day in the life of the wall crawler. Stopping petty crimes, a bank robbery, maybe trying to make it to work or school on time. But here, no foreplay, right to the meat and potatoes.
What? Get out of here, you maniac! Oh, man.
Hey there, Spider-Man. Looking sharp as always.
Wait, so we don't even get to play a level of Otto's experiment gone wrong? A hard cut to the New York City streets? There's people up there that need my help. How is that not a mission in this game? You had the ball teed up for you. How do you not even attempt a swing? You completely ignored it. Every version of Spider-Man 2 has you rescue people from Otto's experiment. Even the GBA version. With great power? No? Well, at least Bruce Campbell's here to teach us all about this game's web swinging mechanics.
Alright, listen up, Fancy Pants. Let's run through the basics just in case you're not that bright.
To put it lightly, this game makes interesting choices when it comes to web swinging. Rather than having your web stick to tangible structures in the environment like buildings, ceilings, or lampposts, instead, there are predetermined swing points sprinkled around levels, represented by these cobweb icons. And using these icons is the only way to web swing. It doesn't matter if there's a building nearby, it doesn't even matter if you're indoors. You have to aim at them and shoot your web line at them. I only have one question, but allow me to ask it 5 times.
Why? 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 Why?
This is such a strange choice. I've never seen any other Spider-Man game do something like this. Before, we've had the notorious cloud-sticking web swinging as seen in Neversoft Spider-Man and the first Spider-Man movie game. And honestly, I prefer that old system over this restraining PC exclusive one. Because at least with the old web swinging mechanics, when I need to take a swing, I know I can do so. With Spider-Man 2 on PC, I often found myself awkwardly running through alleyways and rooftops, darting my head around, looking for one of these swing points. And nobody wants to run around like a regular man. This is Spider-Man 2, not Man 2. No, I didn't steal that joke from Bruce Campbell's tutorial VO in Spider-Man 3, shut up. To give the actual web swinging some credit, the physics are not bad. They're nowhere near as realistic or dynamic as the console version of Spider-Man 2, but you still have that pendulum movement to it, rather than being a static animation of Spider-Man swinging like in the older games. Releasing at the high point of the swing will give you height, and releasing at the midpoint will give you distance. These are the basics for Spider-Man games even today, and we have to remember that this game came out when physics-based web swinging was a brand new concept. So it's good to see that this game has that pendulum movement at least. Web zipping, on the other hand, is actually done really well. You can web zip onto just about any surface, as long as you're within reach. And with this game's third-person shooter style camera, with a cute little spider reticle always present in the middle of the screen, you can pull off some fast and accurate web zips. To be honest, at first I was put off by this game's third-person shooter style camera and control scheme. I'm not used to 3D Spider-Man games looking like this. the constant reticule, the way Spider-Man strafes around instead of turning his body, but this works really well for PC, especially when dodging attacks with Spider-Man's side jump, and having to aim your web shots when swinging and zipping adds an interesting layer to traversal. So what about the concrete jungle you'll be using your web swinging abilities in? Is there a robust open world to explore and to participate in a multitude of side activities? Not really. Most of the game takes place in indoor levels, which I always welcome with open arms, since they're a good way to implement different gameplay elements in the form of puzzles, even if some of them are as simple as Simon Says. The closest thing Spider-Man 2 on PC has to an explorable open world are the sectioned off regions of New York City separated by loading screens. Think Deus Ex, but just not with the level of detail found in those games. In these regions you'll find side activities such as the much expected timed races, collectible exotic spiders, and escaped convicts playing hide and seek. Not the most liveliest map to get lost in, but I do want to give this game some major credit for including the Bronx as one of the regions you can play in. I've said for years that Spider-Man games need to be better about including other boroughs. I know the webhead spends most of his time in Manhattan, but hey, the guy's from Queens. Let him be friendly around his hometown neighborhood. Including other boroughs adds variety to the open world. Manhattan is known for its towering skyscrapers, but Queens, the Bronx, and Brooklyn are more residential, with more houses and shorter buildings, so you'll have to change up your web swinging style to accommodate. And we don't really talk about Staten Island. So again, big props for including the Bronx, even though it looks nothing like it does in real life. I don't recall the last time I came across a Supermax prison in my neighborhood. Let's beat up some bad guys. Combat here is as bare bones as it gets. All you do is click away until... Whoa! Did you see that? That guy like digitized out of existence. What's that about? Anyway, there aren't any unlockable moves or combos to pull off. Not even any fun web attacks. Where are my web rodeos, my web Hadoukens? You can shoot your standard web balls, but only at certain targets and when the game dictates. To give the game some credit, Spidey's attack animations are well done, and as underwhelming as the combat system is, it still feels punchy and is devoid of any clunkiness. Whoa, that's new. What you just witnessed is Spider-Man's adrenaline mode. What, you never heard about Spider-Man's adrenaline powers? Everyone knows about Spider-Man's adrenaline powers. As you beat up goons and pick up these energy orbs, this yellow meter fills up. Once it's full, Spider-Man goes full-on Tron mode and one-shots just about any enemy, except bosses. This works just fine, but I don't know, maybe a little too video gamey for my liking? Like, duh, this is a video game, but it's so on the nose about it. The way enemies disappear and this static effect, the big score numbers every time you beat up a goon, the cute little laser guns enemies use. It's the kind of stuff you would see in a video game being played in a kid's cartoon show. You know what I mean? This game has that very specific vibe. Is this really a Spider-Man game? I feel like it's trying to convey something else. Is this secretly a Matrix game? Is it self-aware? Look! You can even find the computer monitor showing gameplay of Spider-Man 2 on PC in its own game! Look! You can even see the health bar! Let's talk about bosses. Spider-Man games have always been good with giving boss fights unique quirks and puzzles that gives them their own flavor and makes each encounter memorable in their own way. With Rhino, you get what you would expect. You get him to charge into walls or generators, causing him to become stunned, and then you wail on him. Mysterio has a grandiose set piece with crazy obstacles showcasing his mastery of illusions. With Puma, Wait, who the hell is Puma? Real name, Thomas Fireheart, powers, acute senses, and superhuman reflexes, yeah. Marital status single, ladies. Weaknesses, not accustomed to fighting superheroes.
Look at little Puma Jr. Gonna cry?
I actually had no idea who Puma is before playing this game, and ironically, he ended up being my favorite boss fight in the whole game. I like that it takes place in multiple stages, starting in a warehouse, which then turns into a chase through the city rooftops, and finally ends in a construction site. It's also one of the few fights that makes use of Spider-Man's dodge ability. When you're trading fists with the angry furball, you'll see a prompt letting you know that Puma's about to go for an attack that does massive damage. It's almost like Spider-Man has some sort of early warning system. Doc Ock's boss fight is weird because, wait a minute, we're already at the end of the game? Spider-Man 2 on PC is in a rush to get out of your life. It really is the Cliff Notes version of Spider-Man 2, or as told by a 96-year-old amnesiac who fell asleep before the movie even started. I love seeing how all the different ports of Spider-Man 2 adapt the iconic train scene. It always bugged me how in the console version, Spider-Man pulls the train from behind with his webs instead of doing the whole Jesus thing. Let's see how this game handles it. Oh wow. You're not even gonna try to stop the train. That's a lot of damage. We're not gonna bother checking on the passengers? Somehow I'm not surprised. The final battle against Doc Ock is the easiest and most underwhelming boss fight in the entire game. You simply shoot webs at these power supplies and beat on the defenseless, incapacitated, crippled old man. I'll show you, brilliant but lazy. After finally saving the day, Peter and MJ ditch the scene and awkwardly stare at each other without muttering a single word. This frame right here perfectly encapsulates how I feel about my time with this video game. And that, my friends, is Spider-Man 2 on PC, a bizarre anomaly in the history of Spider-Man games that confuses me more than anything. I don't know much about game development, but I wonder why go the radically different route for this port. Jamie Fristrom, the man behind the physics-based web swinging system, knew he had something special with this new mechanic. He came up with it while developing the first Spider-Man movie game. He was a gameplay designer for Treyarch, so him and the team must have kept this new system close to the chest, forcing Fizz Factor to do their own thing. So is Spider-Man 2 on PC really that bad? I wouldn't say so. At best, it's a functional game with responsive controls and one that doesn't overstay its welcome, to put it lightly. At worst, it's an unremarkable game. It doesn't do anything special and it feels like a step backwards from the first Spider-Man movie game, with its bare bones combat and restraining web swinging system. But by far its worst offense is the exclusion of pizza delivery missions. You can't have a Spider-Man 2 game without pizza delivery missions. Even the GBA port had pizza delivery missions. Thanks for watching my video. If you'd like to watch me play video games live, such as this one, ring the bell to be notified of when I go live, or follow me on Twitch. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.